It's February the 16th, and we move today into a new book, the book of Leviticus in Torah. Leviticus is called Leviticus because it has directions for the Levites, the tribe of Levi, who are separated from the rest of the tribes of Israel to be the officials at the tent of meeting, at the place of worship, and to offer the sacrifices. In Hebrew, the book is known as Vayikra, which means "and he called," and like the other books of the Torah, the title is taken from the first word, the opening words of the book in Hebrew. So it's known in Hebrew as Vayikra, he called. Now here in these first 3 chapters are directions for the Levites for some of the offerings that are brought. Chapters 1, 2 and 3 all deal with voluntary offerings, offerings that are brought to the Lord. Korban is their word in Hebrew. Offerings, if anyone brings them. The first chapter deals with burnt offerings, sometimes called holocausts, complete burnt offerings that are completely burned up and no one has any right to any other part of it. It's completely offered to the Lord. And this takes up all of chapter 1. When someone brings an offering, they lay their hands on it, they confess over it. Interestingly enough, the one who offers it butchers it and cuts it up into pieces, but then it's the priests who bring it to the altar to burn it. Then in chapter 2 it deals with meal offerings or grain offerings, different kinds of offerings, and there the priest brings the offering but only takes a handful of it to burn on the altar with incense, the symbol of prayer, the symbol of remembrance before the Lord. So actually the handful that the priest takes of the grain offering is called a remembrance or a memorial, and that's burned, and it's burned with incense because it's a reminder to God to remember those who bring the sacrifice. But the rest of the offering is kept for the priests and for the Levites themselves as theirs to eat, and it helps supply. And it's interesting that God keeps in mind this tribe who don't have their own inheritance in Israel, but they need to be maintained and supplied by the people through their offerings. And then the third chapter deals with shalem, with peace offerings. These are made by people who are in right standing with God, but who just want to give him something and want to present something of their hearts. So they bring a shalem, they bring a peace offering, and they offer that, and again hands are laid on and it's butchered. But this time only part of the offering is burned, and the rest is kept to be able to be eaten and to be shared. There's something interesting here about the eating sacrifices shared between God and the people and the priests. So it isn't all burnt offerings, just everything burned up, but there's a sharing together. Eating with God is something that is recognized as part of covenant, and the people of God continue to eat their meals like a meal with God, part of it being shared by God, part of it being eaten by them and the priests. Have a good February the 16th.